Welcome to the Business for London video on marketing and PR for launching a new product or service. In this video, we're going to look at how to clearly define your new product or service, setting clear goals, defining your target audience, working out a content strategy, and then launching. We'll also look at useful digital marketing tools, when to post, some advice on PR, and tracking the performance of your campaigns. So the first thing you need to do when you're thinking about launching a new product or service is to make sure that there's a gap in the market, that there's a place that your product or service can fill. Is there a need for your product or service? This is one of the things that people often don't do. We often hear people saying, I decided to start a business because I love this particular thing I'm interested in. I love making something. I've got an interest in this and I've decided to turn it into a business. However, is there a need and a gap in the marketplace for the product or service that you want to launch? Is it financially viable? Have you got the funds to launch it? And if it's something you're making, for example, have you got the funds to make enough to fill demand? If there's a lot of demand and you run out, how will you finance making more? And this also relates to pricing. If you get your pricing right when you're selling a new product, for example, then making more won't be an issue because you've made enough to make more. The other thing is, what are your competitors offering? What are they doing that makes them stand out from the crowd? You need to define your new product or service very clearly and concisely. You need to be clear about the problem that it solves and how it benefits your customers. Will your product or service stand out from your competitors? Does it have any unique selling points, USPs? USPs aren't things like, we're great at customer service. USPs have to be characteristics that differentiate your product or service from the rest of the marketplace. Things like, we'll offer you a money-back guarantee, if this is something that no one else in your industry is offering. When you're thinking about launching a new product or service, you need to be very clear about what your campaigns are going to do. Are you going to want to increase brand awareness and let more people know that you exist? Will you want to generate more traffic to your website? Will you need to generate more leads or conversions? Or are you trying to build long-term relationships with customers or prospects? One of the first things you need to do is define your target audience. Who are you trying to sell your product or service to? Of course, you could say, I can sell to anyone, but that won't help you be very clear about how to market. If we take a sports brand, they're going to be marketing to people who do sports, not to people that only buy sports products occasionally. Their main target audience are going to be sporty people. Think about demographics. What age are your target market? What gender? Where are they located? How much money do they earn? Where do they live? What are they interested in? What are their values? What are their pain points? In other words, what are they trying to solve? And so what does your product or service solve for them? Think about their behaviours. What are their online habits? How do they buy things? Do they buy things online? Do they go to shops? They will have a number of behaviours that you need to analyse. You might even want to develop what we call customer personas. There's a great link here from HubSpot that will take you through creating a customer persona. HubSpot is a great marketing system, and you can develop profiles to represent your different customer types. You need to identify where your audience spends their time online. Are they on social media? Are they on Amazon? Are they on Etsy, for example? You need to come up with a content strategy. What are the product or service features and the benefits? You might create educational content so that you can demonstrate the features and benefits of the product or service. You might provide behind-the-scenes content, making the product or delivering the service. You might have testimonials or case studies. You might have a special launch promotion, an early bird offer, for example, to get people to buy into the product or service before everyone else. You might provide FAQs, frequently asked questions, about the product or service. You'll also need visual content, particularly where products are concerned. You'll need high quality photos. You might have videos. You might have demos or tutorials. You might have content that teases people. You might also have infographics that are essentially images giving information. What will your tone of voice be? Ensure that it aligns with your brand's identity. Are you selling something that's professional? Are you trying to be more casual? Are you trying to be more friendly? All of this needs to be clear before you start thinking about launching your product or service. If people were to meet you in person, would they have a sense of who you are from your online persona, from the tone of voice that you use in your online communications? Before you launch, make sure you add the launch date to your marketing calendar. You want to create interest with countdowns to when it's going to be launched or sneak previews of what's to come. You want to build anticipation with social media posts, with video marketing, email campaigns, and you might even get influencers in your industry involved to help you build excitement and anticipation. When you launch your product or service, announce it with a bang. Press releases, live events, special offers. You might even want to hold a launch event or webinar. But of course, bear in mind that if you have an event and it's face-to-face, you may have to pay to rent a venue and you may have to provide things like refreshments. Once you've launched the product or service, keep the momentum up. You don't want to launch it and then sit back and say, well, I've done that now. You want continued engagement. You want to share customer reviews, success stories, case studies. You might want to offer promotions or discounts if customers refer you to someone else. In terms of digital marketing tools, you're going to want to produce lots of content. You're going to want blog posts, case studies, white papers, social media. You might use Instagram, LinkedIn. You might create reels for Instagram and stories for Instagram. And of course, you want to engage people in conversations. If you've got email marketing and you've got a list of subscribers or customers or prospects, you're going to want to use the email marketing. And when people start to engage with your emails, you may want to segment your lists in order to send more tailored emails to interested prospects and customers, people that are opening the emails, people that are engaging with the emails, people that may be clicking on links in the emails to look at the product or service on your website. You may want to run paid ads. Paid ads, of course, can be costly, but it depends on the budget that you have. You might want to do video marketing, demos, tutorials, video testimonials from customers who have bought the product or service, telling other people how great it is. You might put videos on YouTube and TikTok. TikTok, of course, is more of a consumer-based platform. You might create podcasts, you might host or appear as a guest on relevant shows. It's all about getting your new product or service out there so that it's visible in as many places as possible. You want to get lots of exposure for it. Influencer marketing, of course, this is about connecting and building relationships with those influencers who are already well known in your niche. Try to collaborate with them, try to get them on board, see what it will cost you for them to promote your product or service. You're going to want to optimize your website, ensure that the landing page that people go to is optimized for conversions. You want to include strong calls to action and user-friendly navigation. You don't want people to land on your website or your landing page and be wondering where they are or where to go next. It needs to be very clear how they can get more information about the service or buy the product. You want to get them to the sale or to finding out more information as quickly as possible. And choose the best times to post. Often on social media platforms, you will find that if you go into the analytics or the insights, it will tell you when your audience is most likely to be online. Build a strong community. Be consistent in following relevant accounts. Don't just follow a few and then stop. This needs to be a consistent effort. Include local or national journalists. Research them if you have to. Find out who the best journalists are who write about the products and services in your industry. If you're launching something sports related, who are the best sports journalists that you can try to build a relationship with? And of course, as I said just now, make sure that you adjust your posting times depending on when people are most likely to be online. Audience insights and analytical tools will help you to find the best times to post. If you're posting on platforms that use hashtags, make sure you use industry-specific hashtags and also use targeted hashtags that your audience are most likely to engage with. You might also include geo hashtags based on your location. And of course, you might connect with journalists using hashtags like journo request or PR in order to get their attention. You're going to want to monitor the trends things that are happening right now on social media, things that are happening right now in the news, and identify trending hashtags that you could possibly make use of in your own posts. You will need to research the most appropriate media for your product or service. Because we're talking about digital marketing, we often talk about online services and online platforms. But don't forget there are offline industry magazines, for example, that may well be worth exploring to promote your product or service. Make sure you write a personalised pitch for your product or service. It must be a genuinely interesting story. Use who, what, why, where and when in your brief and keep it concise, keep it succinct. Make sure the subject is engaging, that it will encourage them to open your email. Then send a further brief email or phone call if you can get through. Maybe leave it a few days. Trying to get PR for your product or service can be frustrating, and it's important to know that it might take time for the right journalist to engage with your brief. If it doesn't happen straight away, don't be disheartened. Things like this always take time, and they rarely happen straight away. Of course, one of the most important things you need to do is track the performance of what you're doing. Decide, of course, what you need to track. Are you tracking sales? Are you tracking traffic to your website? Are you tracking how long people are staying on your website, or whether they're moving around on your website and visiting different pages? Are you tracking social media engagement metrics? How many people are commenting? How many likes you're getting? Are you tracking media mentions and PR coverage? Be very clear from the outset about what you need to track so that you know whether you're being successful or not. But also, tracking performance allows you to change things. It allows you to adjust things, to see if a different time that you post, for example, improves your engagement. And so, to sum up, you must track your performance all the way through and keep adjusting as needed. Don't just try something once and decide that it didn't work. Minor adjustments can sometimes make a huge difference to the success of a campaign. Make sure if you're getting comments or you're getting likes that you engage with your audience consistently. Respond to their comments, respond to their questions, and make sure you do it in a timely way. There's no point in answering someone 6 weeks after they've put a really kind comment or a really interesting comment on your posts. You need to keep your notifications switched on and don't miss any opportunity to have a conversation with your prospects or customers. Analytics tools measure the success of your efforts. There's Google Analytics that you can set up to run on your website, and social media insights on every platform will give you some great information to help inform your future strategy. I wish you all the very best with it, and I hope that you launch your new product or service successfully. Thank you.